to another Luxe Lessons. Unfortunately, I have found myself in lockdown number 2. Well, not just me, everyone, we're in lockdown number 2. Which means that I've got a little bit more time on my hands. I've had lots of questions asking about different foundations and formulations and what I would recommend with Christmas coming up. People want to be adding those foundations to their Christmas list. So since I've got a little bit more time, I have been doing an experiment for you all. So a big foundation experiment. I've been trialing different foundations so I can give you a full overview and review of all the different benefits of the foundations, which ones I'd recommend, which ones I don't. I'm going to do two videos, I think. So I've got 4 foundations coming up in this video that I'm going to be reviewing, and then I've got 5 foundations in part 2. I'm reviewing quite a few different variations of foundations, so including in that is going to be IT Cosmetics, Nars, Charlotte Tilbury, Maybelline, Bare Minerals, The Ordinary. I think that's it. Just to tell you a little bit about my skin, obviously what I say is not going to suit everybody, so don't take everything that I say for complete gospel, because it really does depend on you personally, how you like your makeup to look and what your skin is like as well. That is really, really important. So I do have oily skin. I do struggle to keep it on throughout the day around my nose, and I do get really shiny throughout the day, especially at the end of the day on my T-zone. So that's just a little bit of background on my skin. So if you have on the drier side of skins, then take whatever I say today and flip it, because it's going to be completely the opposite for you. So I'd heard so much about Nars Sheer Glow, but I hadn't actually used it myself. Typically, I tend to stick with MAC Studio Fix. That is my ride or die. I love it. I love it for work because it's so versatile. You can use it in so many different ways to make it suit every different skin type. It's long lasting, it controls oil, it's oil free, it's just perfect. So I'm always a little bit wary about trying other foundations, because you just kind of, when you find something that you like, you tend to stick with what you know, don't you? So I know that's how a lot of you feel as well, which is why you look for recommendations and reviews, so you can tell whether it is going to be something that you should spend your money on, or whether you should save your money and stick to what you know already. So starting with Nars Sheer Glow, these are the 2 shades that I mixed on myself. I'm going to pop the pictures around about here. Actually, let me shuffle over and give me some space to put the pictures in. Okay, so these are the 2 shades that I mixed together in the pictures here. These are Fiji and Tahoe. Starting with the name of this, I was quite put off by the name Nars Sheer Glow. One, I don't necessarily like sheer foundations. Normally I will try and go for a full coverage foundation. That's just my personal preference. And 2, glowy does not mix with oily skin. I avoid anything that says the word glowy. I would rather put my glow in with my highlighter and have a completely flat matte foundation, just because I know that I get oily throughout the day and I don't want that adding in with the glowiness of the foundation, because it's too much and it'll just be melting off my face. So that's why I hadn't used this before, although I had heard so many great reviews about it. Now, I was really surprised because 1, I don't find that it's sheer, and 2, I don't find that it's particularly glowy. So I did really, really like this foundation. As you can see from the pictures here, I took a picture first thing in the morning when I applied the foundation, and then last thing at night, about 7:30 at night every night, I took a picture so you can really see the longevity of the foundation as well and see how long it lasts throughout the day. So this one I was really, really impressed with. It's quite liquidy when you're applying it to start with, but it is really easily blendable. I used all of these foundations, applied them all that I'm going to talk about with my Luxe blender, and I just used my normal skincare underneath. So they were all used in exactly the same conditions to make sure that this experiment was fair. So the Nars Sheer Glow is a water-based foundation. They have a really large range of shades and the price is $33.50. It doesn't particularly say that it's oil-free. It doesn't claim to be oil-free. However, looking at the ingredients, I couldn't see too many oils listed on there, or I couldn't see any from first glance. So I don't know whether it's got very, very minimal oil in it or whether it is classed as oil-free. I found it relatively matte as well, which really contrasts with the name of it, which is quite confusing. And I found it really long-lasting. It really smoothed out my skin, and I was really impressed with this one. So I'm just going to read you a little bit of the description from the website as well, just so you can hear what the foundation claims to do, and I can compare that to how I thought about it. So it says, a sheer buildable foundation with a natural looking finish, that immaculately even skin tone, complete with skincare benefits and the Nars complexion brightening formula. It leaves skin hydrated, softer and smoother, an artistry essential for creating a natural finish. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a completely natural finish. It doesn't look caked on and heavy, but it does give more coverage than what I would personally class as natural. So that's the first thing that I would say. 2, it's got skincare benefits, so that's great, but I'd still recommend using your normal skincare underneath it as well. It's got a natural looking finish. I would say that it was kind of a natural to matte finish. I wouldn't say that it was particularly massively hydrating and glowing. And it's classed as a sheer buildable foundation, and I wouldn't say that it was sheer either. But that's perfect because it suits me really well. But I've had a lot of questions on this Nars foundation because I've mentioned it a few times over on the Instagram. And for those that have questioned whether they should get the Nars Sheer Glow, then yes, I would say definitely go for it. As soon as we reopen, we are using that in the studio in addition to the foundations that we already used. So if any of you want to come and have a look at shades or try it on your skin, then once we open, pop in for an appointment and we will be able to use that on you and you can see what you think. But it is an all-round yes from me. Foundation number 2 is actually not a foundation. This is from the brand It Cosmetics, and this is a CC cream. Obviously I brought it in the matte formulation. They do have the normal formulations as well, but with having oily skin, I needed to make sure that it was an oil-free and matte formulation. This is also SPF 40. It does come in the option of an SPF 50 as well. So that is amazing. Really, really high protection on that. I would normally always avoid a CC cream because it's just not enough coverage for me. I need more coverage than that. But I heard so many reviews on this, and I actually saw Mitchell using this on Instagram, and I thought, do you know what, that looks really nice, and I was really surprised by the coverage that it gave. So I thought it was worth a try. I brought this from the It Cosmetics website and it was £32. I do believe that they are also stocked in Boots as well, and I use the shade medium. So this says that it is a full coverage cream, pore minimizing and anti-aging and hydrating serum. A CC cream is a color correcting cream, and it also has skincare benefits to it as well. So it is kind of your moisturizer and your coverage and foundation combined together in one. This, out of all of the foundations that I tested, had the most mattifying ingredients in it. As you can see, it is quite kind of oily and dewy by the time that we get to the end of the day. Now that is just because my skin is very oily, so I'm sure that this isn't going to do that if you don't have very oily skin. But with that in mind, I did still really love it. I loved how it applied. So first thing in the day, it looked flawless. It's really thick consistency. So the thickness of the product comes from the SPF in it, and because this has got such a high SPF, would be an SPF 40, you get the thickness in the product. So instead of it being a liquid, it is more of a cream. I did like how it applied though. It's really full coverage, which I just wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to be more like a tinted moisturiser, which it just really wasn't. I did really like it. So this comes in 12 shades, so not quite as wide range with the shades as some of the other foundations that I tried, but interestingly, this was actually formulated by plastic surgeons. So that's why it's got so many skin benefits. It's got your high SPF and it's got your full coverage to it as well. So that was a real different one for me to try, but I did fall in love with it. It is up there at the top, and although I got the end results at the end of the day of being a little bit oily, if I'd chopped it up throughout the day with a bit of powder, it would have been absolutely fine. It is worth bearing in mind that with all of these pictures that I'm showing for all the different foundations, I did not touch it throughout the day. I didn't top it up, I didn't blot any oil, I didn't do anything. So it's just worth bearing in mind so you know that it was a completely fair test. Got their own website, they're listed on Cool Beauty, and they are stocked in Boots as well. So it gives you a few options. So what does this say? It's CC cream, which stands for complexion correcting. Well, that's corrected me, hasn't it? It provides full coverage, sun damage deflecting, and this oil-free formulation leaves a perfect matte finish. It's available in 12 versatile shades and helps to conceal dark spots and minimise the appearance of pores whilst leaving skin super smooth. The formula is brimming with skin nourishing ingredients too. There's oil absorbing charcoal, tea tree extract, and Moroccan lava clay. So it really does boast that it is really, really mattifying, but I didn't necessarily see that it was more mattifying than others by the end of the day, but I can see past that because I did like it. Okay, now I'm moving on to another IT Cosmetics product. On their website, I just absolutely fell in love with IT Cosmetics. So I really do think that it's going to be a new favourite, and I think that I am going to be using this potentially in the studio as well. I think the CC cream is going to be one that I'll be using. I don't know whether I said the price of that one, but it is £32. Right, next foundation is IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Foundation. So I don't have the actual full-size product of this because it was a sample that I got when I ordered the CC cream. But this is what the bottle looks like, and I used this sample to give it a try for the day. So what shade did I use? I used medium neutral, so the second shade on here. Waterlight medium coverage, natural radiant finish. It's got skincare benefits as well in it, and it says improves bare skin in 2 weeks. Coverage that minimises pores and imperfections, all-day hydration and wear. It evens out the appearance of skin tone, visibly refines skin texture and softens skin. So this brand really is all about providing the skincare benefits in with the foundation as well. So you're not only getting the coverage, but you're getting more benefits too. Here's the picture of me applying that in the morning. It goes on lovely actually. It's really kind of natural looking. It's easy to work with. It's quite a liquidy product, but it feels really velvety, really smooth and soft. So I wouldn't be surprised if this has got lots of silicons in it to smooth over the skin and give that pore minimizing effect as well. And obviously you can see that all these after pictures are in low light, so it's not as easy to tell, but you can see that it does last fairly well throughout the day and it didn't get too oily. This has got a medium buildable coverage to it. It is available in 40 shades and it is £32. I did like this one, but I don't think I fell in love with it enough to warrant buying the full size or using it in the studio. I feel like I've got a lot to say about this one. So this is Charlotte Tilbury. I am a lover of Charlotte Tilbury. It's one of those brands that I didn't want to fall for the hype for. Quite honestly, I thought, you know what could make it so much better than other things? Everyone was going mad for it, and I'm not one to jump on hypes. Like, if it's something that everyone's loving, I'm kind of the one to step back and be like, well, it needs to prove itself. And quite rightly, I don't just jump on things. Actually, if things are really, really hyped up, sometimes it does make me take a step back and take a lot longer to kind of investigate it and give it a try out myself. So that's how I felt about these as in the whole brand in general. But there's been so many products from Charlotte Tilbury that have proven themselves and I've absolutely fallen in love with. Now, this foundation I purchased just for myself, just to try it. On first application, oh my God, I absolutely love it. For someone with very oily skin, this is everything you could wish for and more. I love it. It's full coverage and it's matte. It is really full coverage and really matte. So when you first apply it, it goes on so smooth. It's quite thick, but it just feels amazing and soft and smooth, and like it's so different to all the other foundations. It's really velvety. That's the only way I can describe it. It's really velvety and matte, and I love it. But, and there is a massive but, throughout the day, the longevity of this is shocking. Like, it's just not great. On me personally, I've not tried this on anyone with normal skin, so I can't kind of vouch for that. So any of you, if you do use this and you have normal skin or dry skin, let me know below how you find it, because I'd be really interested to know how this sits on different skin. I only have the shade, so it's not easy for me to use this on many other people to get a review on how it kind of lasts and sits on them. So that would be really interesting. It doesn't last. It transfers like you would not believe. At the moment, we're all wearing masks, so it gives it a good test with all these different foundations, with having to wear masks every day as well. And this is just the one that transfers the most. It all just lifts instantly from your nose, around your nose, like everywhere. It just lifts. It goes really oily and messy and just wipes off. And I've just not known that from any of the other foundations, but this literally just wipes off. It is a massive shame because I love the way that it applies. So for reference, I use the shade 5.5. There is 44 shades in the range and it is £34. I am really, truly disappointed by this, because this seemed to be everything that I wanted and needed and more. But the transferring, the rubbing off, the oiliness, the wiping off like throughout the day is just, I can't use it. I can't use it in the studio for fear that it's going to do that on somebody else until I've properly tested it out on different skin types. But from my personal experience, I couldn't have that experience on somebody else, but it just looks so flawless. It's the softest, most flawless thing when you first put it on. I sent this picture to my girls that work for me, and they said that they thought it was a bit too heavy and a bit too cakey, but I loved it. I do fear that if you've got drier skin, it could look even heavier and cakier too when it's sitting on top of your dry areas. So I need to do a bit of experimenting with this, because as much as I wanted to hate the brand, I actually want to love this foundation now. Like, my whole thing's just been turned around by this, persevering. I mean, I've got this whole foundation for myself now, so I will still use it, but it just requires work. It means that it's not going to last all day, and I'm going to have to keep topping up with it throughout the day. But it gets to that point where I think, would I just rather not wear foundation full stop and guarantee the way that I look throughout the day? Or if I don't get a chance to look in the mirror throughout the day and I'm wearing this, run the risk of being majorly embarrassed and looking horrendous for most of the day without knowing about it. So here's a little bit on the website. Sweat proof, humidity proof, waterproof and transfer resistant. Now that, for me personally, from my experience, that is the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard, because I would say completely the opposite to all of those statements. Charlotte has developed a unique magic beauty skin algorithm through studying on 650 plus women to decode the perfect flawless match of foundation shades that colour syncs to the skin. I did really like the colour, so that is one thing. Charlotte Tilbury is the first colour cosmetics brand to use groundbreaking magic perplexium, which reduces the appearance of wrinkles up to 22% after 8 weeks of use. I've not used that consistently for 8 weeks, so I couldn't comment on that. Moisturises for up to 24 hours. Skin moisture levels boosted by 216% in 1 hour. Wow. Yeah, again, if you've got dry skin, I would love you to try this out, and please let me know. So that is that. They are all around about the same sort of price, aren't they? So they're ranging from the £32 to the £34 mark. Coming up in the next video, I have got Maybelline foundation, the Ordinary foundation, the new Nars Soft Matte foundation, and Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Bare Minerals Loose Powder Foundation as well. So I hope that was insightful. I hope it's given you a little bit of an idea of which foundations you'd like to try in the future, which would probably suit your skin type and which ones wouldn't. Any other questions, just let me know. I hope the pictures have been helpful as well. Very sorry for my gormless face in most of them, but hey ho. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next video.